We are going to start our last session in this exciting program. I hope this last session will bring us to a good conclusion of all the dialogue we had so far.
For now.
I think I think this is going to be the most difficult one in terms of theological dialogue. And I hope it will go as the other two sessions went, inshallah. We are going to have the last session under the title, The Cross and Salvation. And we going to have Dr. Arshur, Dr. Douglas, Dr. Jamal Badawi, and Dr. Hussain Morsi as the participants in this session. As far as the format, we'll just go as we did before. We'll start with 12 minutes presentation by each side, and then we'll have the interactive part similar to what we did before. And then we'll have the questioning panel, and then the questions from the audience, from you over here. But in between, we'll have a break, and that's going to be around 9 o'clock. So may I kindly request either the Muslim panel, who's going to start this time? I kind of forgot. Dr. Badawi is going to start. Okay. Dr. Badawi can.
Is it all right with our Christian brothers?
If it's all right, I mean, you know.
Prefer to start first, it doesn't matter. Whatever. Up to you. Up to you too. Lots of flexibility. You want to give the coin?
No, no coin.
I give them the choice, no problem.
Whatever Dr. Douglas says, we'll take
Get
it.
a coin? I have that. I haven't got a coin.
Dr. Douglas,
What? Better
what do you want?
All right. Or maybe one of
You want to
Dr.
start with
Arsha's,
the stuff?
historic coins.
We'll take your word.
What?
Wait. We'll take his word.
There's another
Where do you want it?
intelligent way of deciding it. What is the subject?
The cross and salvation.
Cross. Now, who would lead in the discussion of the cross?
I think it's appropriate that we start.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right.
And I remind you after 12 minutes.
You're going to remind me after 12 minutes. Okay.
Hopefully I don't have to.
Dream on.
Bob has a good record.
Well, again, it's a delight to have the opportunity to share and interact. The frustration with all of these activities is that we are dealing with topics that are so large and that have so many implications and that run off into so many directions that it just seems regularly we get into them, we touch on some things, and time runs out and we have to sort of leave it there. But then maybe that's the best way. But in saying all of that, I'm simply saying that tonight in the topic we face another one of those difficulties. Now, in some ways, I would say that though the topic is labeled the cross and salvation, that in another way, maybe it's mislabeled. Not really, but because the real issue from my perspective as a Christian centers again in an issue of the nature of God and the nature of humankind. That's really what we're talking about. And cross and salvation relate to issues arising out of those two subjects. And so what I can say is very limited given the time, but there will be opportunity for further expansion of it all. As a Christian, I certainly believe in the reality of God. You know that. And I believe that God is the creator of humankind. I believe that when God created human beings, He did so intending that they would live in a certain kind of relationship with Him. One of, to use an Islamic term, submission, surrender, respect, worship, obedience, on and on we could go in enumerating various kinds of language to describe that. In the process of creating human beings, from a Christian perspective, I certainly believe that God created us free. Now, obviously, we're not absolutely and totally free in every dimension of life, but as a friend of mine says, we have been given considerable wiggling room. There are many things about which we can make decisions, and God, in fact, from my perspective, gave us that quality and that responsibility, that somehow that fit with both His nature and His desire for the kind of relationship that He wants with us. At the same time, it seems that as God did that, God risked something. He certainly risked the possibility that we as human beings would not choose the things that we ought to choose, that we would not be the trusting, obedient, reverential kind of people that He hoped we would be, and that would draw the parameters of the kind of relationship that He wanted with us. And in fact, from a Christian point of view, from my point of view as a Christian, humankind rebelled against God. So that today there is within the human situation a deep and fundamental and radical kind of problem. Now, here, no doubt, is a point that we can talk about and discuss. And whether you cast it in the likeness of original sin or not, in some ways is not the issue to me. I'm simply affirming that I believe that within every human being there is a moral defect, there is a bias, there is an inclination to do wrong, and at the heart of that inclination to do wrong is not simply forgetting or mistaking or not carrying out what one needs to know, but a deep kind of rebellion against God, in which the human being says to God, I will not, and determines to run his or her own life, sometimes resulting in great moral and social degradation, sometimes resulting in situations that may be a little better than others, but that at the heart of the whole problem is the person saying, I'm going to do what I want. You cannot, you, God, I will not respect what you are saying I am to do. And to me, this is a deep and fatal kind of problem. The other part of this has to do with God and the nature